And I think we're live. Hello, everybody. I'm going to wait just a minute to get we're going to wait just a minute to get the stream up and running, and then we're going to go really fast tonight. We have four pieces to cover, but it's all sort of introductory material, and most of you are already pretty good at that. So we're going to try, and you know what I'm talking about, right? Let's see. So first of all, wait a couple of seconds, and then we'll start the whole spiel. All right, my name is Gary. I have been running the Denver Guitar Orchestra since its inception, and I have since moved, and a good buddy of mine, Mark, has taken over the orchestra portion of it, and I'm still doing the teaching, and then another friend of mine, Ian, is doing some in-person classes up in Denver, and I will be doing in-person classes and private lessons down here where I am now. The website to go to is denverguitarorchestra.com. However, I'm super excited to let you guys know that I have just finished acquiring guitarorchestra.com, and so we'll keep the Denver Orchestra stuff on the Denver Orchestra site, and then we'll keep more teaching stuff. We'll start moving that over to the guitarorchestra.com site here over the next couple months, and so that's going to be happening. So the instructional material will all end up housed in one place, and then the orchestras, as they develop, will end up having their own websites. Let's see. The other thing to talk about is the progression on the website. There's 3 books. Book 1, if you're brand new to playing guitar, even if you've been playing guitar a while, you better go through Book 1 because it really hammers in playing melody, playing from tablature, reading standard notation, all of that stuff that you need to know to be successful playing fingerstyle or classical. And for a lot of you that are wandering around trying not to read sheet music, it takes that whole problem away, and we'll solve it. The book 2 is takes you from just learning that sort of essential basics into a lot of chord transitions and a lot of technique, and then book 3 finally gives you some decent songs. Now tonight our decent song is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, so don't judge that yet. I'd much rather teach you on simple songs that maybe aren't quite as exciting as you want to play, so you can learn your technique, and then take those techniques and put them onto better songs. And then tonight we're starting a new book, Sagreras' 7-volume instructional material, which is just great. The first 44 lessons are pretty brutal, but after that it just opens up into magnificent music, and so we'll go through those first 44 lessons over just a few weeks here, and then we will be diving into all 7 of his volumes, maybe not in perfect order, but pretty much. And so that's what we're doing tonight. I have been off the internet for a long time, taking some courses, and Vic and LG, who both just logged in, know me from the pandemic days, and so what we'll be doing is we'll be doing a live broadcast, and I'm going to be pulling that down and breaking it into parts and putting it back up specific for each of these individual books. So I think that this should be fun, I'm hoping, and we'll see how that works. So let's get into book 1. We're only going to spend a couple minutes on the basic here. 1, you have a guitar, right? It doesn't matter what kind of guitar. I wouldn't use an electric guitar. I'd use an acoustic guitar. Electric guitars are a different animal. They're very fun, but they're more about learning how to run your amplifier and buying the right pedals and bending notes and making fun, cool sounds, which is super fun. And playing guitar seems to be, it's not in the same direct must make the guitar do all of the work type category, and so there's that. Then so acoustic guitar, either a plastic string or a metal string, doesn't matter, and almost certainly the guitar that you own is not the right guitar for you. Most people play a guitar that's way too big for them, and so as you are struggling trying to hold the darn thing, remember they do make smaller guitars, and maybe you ought to own one. The guys at the guitar shop want you to buy the big one one because it's the loudest and it sounds the best. So that makes sense what they're telling you. But in terms of your own personal enjoyment and learning to play guitar, smaller is going to be better. And so, give that some thought. Whatever guitar you have, it's good enough to learn on. Second thing, third thing, 12th thing, whatever we're on, is how to hold the thing. Please, please, please do not put this over on your thigh and play like a cowboy and with your thumb sticking up. It's going to make playing so much less fun in the long run and so much more difficult. And when you go to perform at Red Rocks or whatever amphitheater is near your home, you're going to be standing up, you're going to be screaming into a microphone, and your guitar is going to be on a strap wrapped around your neck. It's going to be hanging down in front of you in classical guitar position. So it makes sense to just learn in classical guitar position. It's the correct way to hold your guitar when you're sitting down practicing. I know it feels super weird putting the guitar between your legs in the beginning, but eventually it's just what you do. Your left leg should be propped up on your guitar case so that it's higher. I have one of these contraptions that cost $80, but it uses a magnet to stick to the sides of the guitar, and then it takes the place of my foot being raised up. So the nice thing is I can now play. The guitar's not going anywhere, and that's exactly what we want. Let's see, I need to put my other screen up here because the one I'm looking at is super delayed and I have no idea whether I'm making any sense. Who knows if I'm making any sense? All right, so you're holding the guitar correctly. Then we got to tune the guitar, and when I'm teaching in person, I make everybody memorize Eddie, E, 8, 8, 8A, Dynamite, D, Good, G, by, B, Eddie. Eddie, 8, Dynamite, Good, by, Eddie. And no matter how many weeks long the guitar class is, I always start every single guitar class is, what's the phrase that pays? And until everybody says in unison, Eddie, 8, Dynamite, Good, by Eddie, then we haven't succeeded in the class. Memorize that little phrase because it's going to come up. You're going to quit guitar for 6 months or 6 years. You're going to come back and there's only going to be one thing you remember: Eddie, 8, Dynamite, Good, by Eddie. Do yourself a favor. Go to Amazon and get a snark. I don't represent them. They don't know who I am. Super Tight HZ is, I think, the current model, ST8, and it's going to make your life so much better. You stick it on the end. You pluck a string. It says, "Oh, your E. You're a little low on your E. Tighten it up a little bit." A says it's fine. D says it's fine. I tuned up right before class. G is still on the money. B is fine. E is fine. Okay, and all the other tuners out there will work, but they're not near as reliable as the Snarks. Snarks has got it. They're just the best, and I love them. You should also download one onto your phone. In book number 1, there's a thing called relative tuning. It's not unimportant. If you hold your 6th string down on the 5th fret, it'll sound the same as the one below it. Same with the 5th string on the 5th fret. Same with the 4th string. Okay, here's where things get kind of wonky. This 3rd string, your G string, you hold it down on the 4th fret. And then the last one, the 5th fret of the 2nd string. And that's how you make sure, after I tune with the tuner, and then I go through and I do that to double check that it's all tuned up correctly. There are also lots of other ways to double check your tuning and to get it exactly what you want. But those 2 systems are going to be pretty reliable. The one on your phone is accurate, but it doesn't work if there's any noise in the area, and so it's a backup. It's an emergency type thing. All right, so we've talked posture, we've talked tuning, we talked your guitar. Let's open up Brother John. It's only going to take us a very short amount of time. Next week, we're going to play it for real. Okay? On Brother John, there are 2 ways to play Brother John here. One is by melody and one is by chords. We're going to play it by melody first. On your sheet music, you will see this regular notation line, and then underneath that you'll see a line that says guitar melody. That's tablature. There's 6 lines on there. That represents the 6 lines on your 6 strings on your guitar. The top line on the paper is your bottom string on your guitar. It's super annoying in the beginning. You'll get used to it eventually. 2 weeks from now, you'll never even notice that it's upside down anymore. But in the beginning, you'll notice a lot. So that's 0240-0240, 457-457, 797-540, 797-540-000. The whole thing is on that first string, except down there in measures at the very bottom of the page, it says 0, and then there's a 0 on the second string, and then a 0 on the first string. Okay, so we'll go through each of the sections. So the first thing to note is you have 6 strings. Remember, the string number 1's on the bottom. Second thing to note is you have so many frets, okay? And if you count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pretty good chance you got a dot on there. If you have a classical guitar like mine, either the dot might be on the side, or there might not be a dot at all. If you don't have a dot at all, you can go to Amazon and get these little rub-off dots, and I highly recommend them. You see them on my guitar. Here's one on 5, here's one on a dot on 7, and then I have a dot on 12. The only reason the dot's on 12 is some of my guitars have 14 frets to the body, and I just like to not have to think, so I want to look down and know where that this is the 12th fret, and because on my guitars I have 14 frets to the body, you look down and you think it's going to be that fret next to the body, and it's not. So you've got 5, 7 are the important ones, and then 12 is the other one to know where that is. You can get, they're just little rub-off stickers, and they're on Amazon, and they're not very much money. So if you don't have dots, get some dots. You want one on 5, you want one on 7. And then it goes, I don't know, every guitar goes to at least 15 or 15, somewhere between 15 and 20 frets. Okay. You're not going to use all the frets until you become a pretty good player. Let's play. On the first string, you're just going to use your thumb. Pluck down. Okay? And if you're not holding anything down, it's open or a 0 on your paper. On your paper, the next thing it says is 2. That means you're going to hold the second fret down. Use your middle finger, like it says in the lyrics, middle finger, and then put your middle finger in between the two fret wires there, and maybe up closer to the front, if this is the front of the guitar, a little bit closer to the front of the fret than behind. If you're way back here, you can buzz, but if you're right up next to the fret, it won't buzz, okay? And then squish a little bit. 2, and then you hit a 4 with your pinky. Use your pinky, okay? Pinky's important. And then open again. So let's do that a few times. 0240. 0240. If we were in class, we would do it 100 times until I was sure that every single person in the class was doing open, middle, pinky, open, open, middle, pinky, open. 0240. Okay, that's measures 1 and 2. They're just both are the same. 0240, 0240. Notice my hand's not doing anything. It's just hanging out. The other thing you notice, where's my thumb? You don't see my thumb, right? Please, please, please. This is a law of Earth. Okay, you get arrested by the guitar police. We don't ever need to see your thumb unless you are playing an electric guitar in a rock and roll band. Okay, we don't ever need to see your thumb. Your thumb stays behind the neck, back here, and it hangs out behind wherever your middle finger is. Okay, so it goes there. All over the internet, you're going to see guys with their thumb up here and then doing this weird thing, and that is so it is so much more difficult, and you can make your life harder if you want and put your thumb up here, but don't, because it's going to be so much easier and faster and better for everything if your thumb is in the correct position. Middle finger, pinky finger. Okay, and then again, I'm just using my thumb over here to pluck. Next section, measures 3 and 4, and the measures on your paper are the vertical lines. Slide up to number 4. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the one before the dot. Okay, have an index finger on this. Measure line 4 on the paper. The line going across is 0240, 0240, and then it says 457. So this is 4, and then this is 5, and then this is 7. So I'm using index, middle, pinky. I'll do it a bunch. Dun, dun, dun. Index, middle, pinky. Index, middle, pinky. Index, middle, pinky. Now, we're going to do 4, 5, 7 when we get there, but I want you just for a moment to peek up above on the standard notation line where the regular music line is. You'll notice that you've got 2 notes that are filled in circles, and then the last note on that line has a hole in the middle. Notes with holes in the middle are worth 2, okay? As long as they have a stem on them, they're worth 2 beats. So it's really do, 4, 5, 7, extra beat. 4, 5, 7, beat. 4, 5, 7. Okay, so you pay attention when you're playing. You look up and you're like, oh, that's a half note. It's worth 2 beats. Got to let that note go a little longer. Next thing, measure 5. We're going to go with, if you have the old sheet music from 2023, we're going to be using middle and, I'm sorry, you're going to use your ring, pinky, ring, middle, index, thumb. So it's 7, 9, 7, 5, 4, oh. If you have the new sheet music from 2025, it's going to say middle, pinky, middle, middle, index, open. Middle, pinky, middle, middle, index, open. Or the old sheet music, ring, pinky, ring, middle, index, open. Why the fingering change from 23 to 2000 to 2025? I think either one of those is fine. Okay. The more classically correct version is now middle, pinky, middle, slide, middle, index, open. The reason I'm going to change it is if you do ring and then you have to kind of stretch a little bit here to do 7, I'm perfectly fine with you doing that. You're going to end up doing it anyway. But it's not really required since I can just put my middle there and now my pinky is correctly positioned. Middle, pinky, middle. So our old little bit of a stretch I think was good for your fingers, but not necessarily correct in the 1950s correct way of doing things. You still ended up having to stretch to get back here to 5. So you was sort of stretch to get to your pinky and then stretch to get your middle finger. And now after a couple of years of thinking about it, I think we're going to go with middle, pinky, middle, no stretch, slide, again, no stretch, in middle, index, open. Okay, so again, either system is perfectly fine, but from now on, the paperwork will read middle, middle, pinky, middle, middle, index, open. Okay, that's just a more classically oriented fingering setup, and you're still playing the same music. It's just maybe a little bit more correct. There's no correct thing in art, and so don't get in your head that there's a right way and a wrong way to do music. There's better ways and worse ways. The other thing to pay attention to here is notice how the sheet music up above, you'll notice there's a bar tying the first 4 notes together. Morning bells are, those 4 notes have bars tying them. That means they're worth half, and so that means they're fast. Okay, so instead of a full beat, they're worth half a beat. And you'll see when we get there, when we play the whole song, that those are pretty hard and pretty fast. All right, next thing down on the very bottom line, measure 7, which is the bottom. You'll see a 0, and then the other zeros on the string above it, which is below it on the paper. And then back to the first string. First string, second string, first string. Okay, that's what we're going to be doing. Okay, from the top, nice and slow. By the way, playing slow and making mistakes is the correct way to learn how to play music. Okay, from the top, 1, 2, 3, go. 0, 2, 4, 0, 0, 2, 4, 0, 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, slide up, 79754. Oh, 79754. Oh, first string, second string, first string, second string, first string. Now, that's where we would repeat. Notice on your sheet music, you get into the end of measure 8, it says repeat. You're supposed to go back up to the top and just play through the whole thing again. Notice above measure 8 that bracket, and it says number 1 inside of the bracket. And notice above measure 9, the one after it, it also has a bracket, but it says number 2. So the first time you play through, you play measure 8. The second time, don't play measure 8, skip over to measure 9 and let the song finish up. So basically, you're playing the song twice. Just make sure on the second time you're coming down that you skip measure 8. You don't play it at all, you skip it. Okay? All right, that's your homework for the week. Get really, really good at that. Oh, there's one other thing we should probably learn on there. It is a pretty melody, Vic. It's just pleasant. And by the way, those of you guys who have been around a while, or a long time, or years and years, try to play that without looking at the sheet music. Like really know it, because sooner or later you're gonna have a friend that's like, oh, I sure wish I could play guitar. And you say, sit down, I'm going to show you something. You can have that playing that, and what do we spend on it? 10 minutes? There they are, they're playing. Really nice melody. Forgot to mention, on here there's an E chord, and we do need to learn to make your first chord, okay? So, unfortunately, tablature is written upside down. So if you ever are not sure what you're doing, just hold your guitar up to the sheet music upside down, and you'll see the strings line up. But above, Brother John, in the little chord grids, those are written vertically, like this. Okay, so when I'm looking at a chord chart, I'm trying to hold this up. String number, this string, 6th string, is on the left side of a chord chart, and string number 1 is on the right side of the chord chart. And so then all you have to do is remember this white line here, your guitar nut, okay, is that black line underneath the E on each of those chords, okay? And then the lines going down are your strings, and then the dots are where you put your fingers, okay? And so for an E chord, this is critical stuff. You will make an E chord every single day for the rest of your life. Index finger, 1, 2, 3 strings up, 1st fret, okay? Middle finger, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strings up, 2nd fret. Ring finger, 1, 2, 3, 4 strings up, 2nd fret. Okay, I'm delighted I counted it correctly for once. I almost always goof up the counting on this. Okay, so index on the 3rd string, middle finger on the 5th string, ring finger on the 4th string. Now a lot of students will goof this up and put them upside down. Put the middle here and the ring here. Okay, just don't do that. Okay, middle finger on top, ring finger on the bottom. I know it seems a little bit more awkward when you're first learning it, but believe me, there'll be time when you don't even think about it. There's your E chord. Okay, and then when you're playing chords, you play multiple strings. LG says, I'm surprised I remember the old fingering. Well, you don't play this every day anymore? Okay, now, the reason we play with chords is for those of you who like to sing. I am not one of those, and you're about to hear what bad singing sounds like. Nice and steady. 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping, Brother John? Brother John. Morning bells are ringing. Morning bells are ringing. Ding, dang, dong. Ding, dang, dong. And then we repeat. Okay? So just learn your chord and just steady, straight down strums every beat. Don't change the beat, and it'll come out just like that. It'll come beautiful. If you forget how to do it, come back to this recording and you'll learn how to do it. Those of you who are more advanced, you got a thumb on this string and these 3 fingers on the bottom string. Okay? Frere, Jacques, Frere. arpeggio picking. Thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, ring. Son, le, Martinez. Son, le, Martinez. Ding, ding, dang, dong. Ding, dang, dong. Okay. All right, I didn't do a great job of that, but you see the idea, right? Thumb, and then some amount of business with this. It's easier if you started from the top. Frere Jacques, Frere Jacques, dormez-vous. And doesn't that sound pretty automatically, right? I haven't changed anything. I'm still a terrible singer, and I'm just playing one single chord, but I'm doing something fancy with this hand. So that's a little bit more advanced stuff for you to think about on the E chord. If you're new and you're in book 1, go home and study that. Okay, next song up. I want to know why I got the wrong Brother John. Oh, I do have it. Okay. Book 2. Let's take a look at the song that you've been dying to get your hands on, A-Tisket, A-Tasket. You are welcome. Please, anytime you want to have a really crummy song, call me up. I'm your man. Okay. Those of you who are new, you will play the melody here. You're only going to play 2s or 3s on either the 2nd string, or I think everything's on the 1st or 2nd string. Oh no, there is a 2 on the 3rd string. Okay. All right. So let's play the melody. If you're brand new, this is going to happen to you too fast, but you can come back, check the recording. Once you're done with Frere Jacques, you'll be like, I think I could do Tisket, A-Tasket. Melody only. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a pickup. There's a pickup note. 1, 2, 3. That's the 1st and 2nd endings, and that's the melody you're going for. I made a mistake both times in measure 7, 2 different mistakes, so there's nothing to work on yet. And probably when you're new, that's probably twice as fast as you should play it. Take your time, let it be slow. All right, next thing is your A chords going to E7s. Okay, so get your A chord, and then your E7 is an E chord, where we just learned, except you don't put the ring finger down. A-Tisket, A-Tasket, a green and yellow basket. I wrote a letter to my love, and on the way I dropped it, I dropped it, I dropped it, and on the way I dropped it, a little girl, she picked it up and put it in her pocket. All right, so there's not a very great song, but it is designed and it's in the book for no reason other than to get you comfy with A, E7, A, E7, A, E7. And once you get really good at that, you're going to be doing it a lot in your life, so just get good at it now. And then finally, we have tough acts. Okay, and this is for you. Those of you who are brand new, don't even think about doing this yet. Those of you who've been around a while, okay, let's get it done. Okay, you've got your A chord on. Always start with your A chord on, nice and slow. At home, practice half speed, guys. Seriously, slow is way better. Try not to teach your fingers dumb habits early on because they remember. Okay, from the top, 1, 2, 3. chord until a week later you can finally take it off. Okay, lots of things to talk about. One, in this piece of music, you're really working on A to E7. Okay, you're also working, when you see threes in this piece, you're probably going to want to put your pinky there. Okay, and that's one thing that's different than ukulele. On ukulele, a lot of times in threes, we'll use our ring finger. In guitar, we're going to use our pinky, and you want to, from the very beginning, be telling your pinky, yeah, you really do have to do this, because your pinky is not going to be cool with it. And so just get him involved, get him or her involved in the activity just as soon as possible, and have them playing the threes for you. But anytime a three is on the second string or the first string, you're probably going to use your pinky. And then other things I think that are important in here is that it's a dumb song, right? But it's short, and so you can play it slow and try to get the words, or get the tempo and the notes in correct timing. There's no guitar police, by the way, so they're not going to arrest you for going too slow, right? And if you go too fast, you make too many mistakes. So talk yourself into making less mistakes by going way slower than you want to go, and then way slower than we just did, because at the very end of this song, there's two things that are hard. One, getting your E7 on with your pinky, that there at the beginning of major 6. I find that very challenging. Okay, and I goofed it up one time for sure. I think I got it the second time, but be aware that's a big deal, because your eyeball got to go down the next line, and your hand has to go from this lovely, peaceful, everything's great shape to this kind of gangly, weird shape, right? With E7 and your pinky up on 3. Okay, so be aware of that. It goes slower on this beginning part. That's kind of easier, so that you can have enough time to get this on when it gets way harder. Okay, so there's that. The last thing, that measure 11, the last chord, a bar on 2. Okay, don't do it like this, 2 2 2, and then try to reach your pinky up there. Don't do that. Bar on 2, leave you the 5th string, 5th and 6th strings open, and then pinky right here. Okay, and the reason that sounds so good is that note here. Guess what it is? It's an A note. E string, F, G, A. Okay, so A note, A chord, everything's happy. It just sounds right. Now, the one thing that I work on all the time is I want to keep my pinky bent like this. You see it's bent and actually coming in backward to the fretboard. It's actually going the wrong direction. The reason I needed that to do that is because it means that my hand is in proper position with my thumb back here, and my fingers are actually a claw shape, more of a talon looking shape than round. I used to teach everybody, make it round, because that's from my piano days, right? You play with round hands. But in guitar, you almost need claw-like. You really need these knuckles standing straight up to do it correctly. Okay? And that's true of even this chord, right? Notice, you don't want to lay your fingers down like this, because then they lay on top of the other string. Make those knuckles stand straight up. And you will end up being much happier with your overall tone. All right, I gotta go a little faster. So, book 2, you're working A-Tisket, A-Tasket this week. I promise the songs don't get better, so just enjoy them while they go. All right, book 3. What are we doing? Book 3. Book 3 is oh, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Vous, Dirai-Je, Maman. And play some Mozart. Okay, lots of ways. Those of you guys who have been around a while, you know that this is way harder song than it should be, and it's actually quite beautiful. And you are playing Mozart, and if you slow this down and just really put in all of your skill set, it's going to be cool. So first thing, let's double check your chords. G chord with ring and pinky. Okay, that's one of your chords. Okay, that goes back to book 1 where we learned it this way. But use both ring and pinky here. If you don't need the second string held down, just use your pinky, index, and ring. Middle, don't use your ring finger, right? You can still use your ring finger if you want, okay? C chord, my nemesis, index, middle, ring. Make sure this pinky is not doing one of these deals, right? Don't have him out there, right? He's got to be hanging out, getting ready for the next note, because inevitably it's going to be that note right there, okay? Okay, keep him up like that. and then D7, nothing fancy about that. Index, middle, and ring. You've done it a million times. Okay, and those are your chords. Okay, so you've only got 3 chords, but you're going to get a workout here. Let's run through the chords real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how time won't you sit. How does it go? How I wonder what you are. Right? Okay. So I don't know how the song goes, but you saw what we were working on, right? Sing that slow. There's a lot of chord changes in there, and they're all standard chords, but they do come at you, and they don't give up. And so you want to get where. Don't listen to yourself doing it. Don't give yourself a ton of time to change chords. Set up a metronome. Click, 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 or even slower. Twinkle, twinkle, change chord, little, change chord, guard, change chord, how I, change chord, wonder, right? So it's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. So it's a good one just to use as a warm-up, I think. So there's your chords. We don't need to play the melody, but you know how it goes. I by the way, you'll see in the sheet music it's all quarter notes, right? But add a little at level 3. Start adding in a little bit of mustard to it. Don't just do what the paper says. That's when you go to the university, they make you do what the paper says. In real life, we don't do what the paper says. The paper gives you lovely directions, and you want to get comfy with what's there, but you still want to be a musician. You still want to be an artist. Turn it into something that's meaningful. By the way, I was watching Taylor Swift on. We've all been watching her for the last 2 years doing that, making $1 zillion dollars. And there's a song, one of the songs where she was up. Holding the guitar, strumming and singing and doing her deal, and it was fascinating to watch because honestly, it's exactly what we just did. Some very basic chords, and then she was just pounding away on that guitar, and it was nothing at all fancy. Right? I was like, oh gosh, this is what gets you $1 billion is this instrument, this activity, and some basic chords. It's truly fantastic what's possible. Tough axe is pretty tough here. Okay, I've been spending a lot of time with this G shape, using my middle and ring up here. Okay, and then put your pinky here. Okay, and then a C chord, just a regular old C chord. Again, G chord. Okay, oh, whoops. By the way, if you guys have the older sheet music, go to the website and get the one from 2025 because I just added some stuff to it. You can tell the first thing I added I missed. Okay, D7 and measure 3, G chord, D7, A in the bass, and G. Okay, next line. supposed to play it twice around, of course. But you got the idea. That gives you a sense of what I'm going for there. Notice tough axe. I was playing it super slow. It didn't feel slow because I'm busy doing stuff. It just sounds lovely. And so again, speed is not your friend. Don't try to play fast. Try to play slow. All right, that's the song you'll be working on for the week. We will just play it next week. By the way, you've been around a while. You know thumb is great. Claw is better. And so then you're thinking about claw. And eventually you roll those chords, right? Levels of fanciness. Always your fanciness comes from your right hand. This is still going to be necessary to make the music correctly, but this is where your fancy comes from. So be adventurous with your right hand. Don't just get stuck with, you can do it with your thumb. I promise. That's when I'm arranging tough acts. It's #1 priority. Can it be played with your thumb? And if it can, then we're good. And those of you who have been around a while and are a little bit more advanced, claw position. Okay. All right, that's book 3 project for the week. And then finally, I have a new project for us. Okay, pull up your Sagreras out of the classical stuff. And when you see this, you're going to be like, Gary, are you serious? 86 lessons, okay, in book 1 of Sagreras. The first 44 are very boring. And so we're going to go through them pretty quickly over the next few weeks. So don't not do them. What I want you to do is pull this up, hit play on the MP3, and then play what's on the paper, okay? So the only difference between what I'm giving you and what Sagreras gave you is he does not do tablature because it's classical music and they're too good for that. I give you the tablature because it's stupid not to. We have iPads these days. You can have as many pages as you want, and it gets rid of a whole bunch of mess all over his sheet music, right? And at some point I'm going to do a video on just exactly what the difference between guitar music with tablature and without tablature, what it means. And if you're 12 years old and planning to go to college in classical guitar, you shouldn't, but if that's your plan, you don't use tablature. Everybody else that's a grown-up oughta get comfy with tablature and standard notation. You need to know both. And what you'll find is that the standard notation is super helpful, but unless you're going to memorize and master a song, it's too much. And so tablature allows you to play it with much less work. Here's the thing with Sagreras, and this is probably where you're going to find your biggest challenge. Index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, rest stroke. Okay, and then you guys know rest stroke, when we're coming down with our thumb and we rest it on the string we're not going to play, right? Same thing is going to happen here, except we're going to use these two fingers and we're coming up. So look at exercise #1 on this page. It's open, 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 open. And the entire time, index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, index, middle. Always resting on the string below. Here's a fun thing that my guitar professor taught me. When you get to the 6th string, there's nothing to rest it on. You can put your thumb up there. So you hit your thumb. Then go back up. I didn't do them all, okay? But your goal is to start with your index finger and end with your index finger and not ever make a mistake. Okay, we're working on... It's interesting. Rest stroke with these other fingers is a very valuable technique. It's going to come out really helpful down the road, but it's also going to be clear and distinct when this is good, rest stroke, or not a rest stroke, or open stroke. Mostly when we're learning, we do all open strokes, and then we never get good at rest stroke. And this piece of music, this composers is like, you know what, you need to be good at this. And I think the answer in studying lots of music now is, yeah, I think you need to be good at this. So you've got 8 etudes on here. You have the tablature. Tablature is pretty straightforward. The only one that's even remotely musical is number 8 on page 2, and it's going to take you, you know, you got to obviously get lined up. But you see the idea, right? So you got to work over here and get this clean, and you're doing all rest strokes. This is the important thing. It doesn't matter about the notes; it matters about the rest stroke. Okay. And the other thing is, I want you to play it with the MP3. Okay. So on the website, right on the front page there, MP3 takes 3 minutes to play this. Okay. Click play and play it. The reason, 1, it'll make you do rest stroke. 2, it'll make you read tablature faster. 3, it's not stopping, so you need to just forget it when you hit a bad note and move on to the next one. That's where the ensemble part plays in. And then 3 minutes later you're done. And then now your fingers are all warmed up and your brain is warmed up, and now you can go practice something better. Okay, now I know that seems just kind of boring at first, and when 44 lessons from now, I promise you'll be like, this is really boring. But what happens is after that is we get into his musical stuff, and I have been listening to a lot of Sagreras the last few weeks, and I can't believe he's not as good as Carulli. He's not as good as Torrega, but he is so much more diverse than those guys, and he's got so many cool ideas, and they end up doing tangos and all kinds of South American rhythms and just really, really fun music. And almost all of his songs in these first 7 books are really short, right? You know, 30 seconds to a minute long, and you end up sounding amazing. You combine about half a dozen of those into a piece, and you're really going to have something. So we're going to spend a little bit of time with Sagreras. I just fell in love with him recently, and I really love this instruction manual. I don't think it's as good as Carulli, but it's good. So we're going to do some stuff out of it. There you go. So your homework: play Brother John till you're sick, till you have it memorized. Play A-Tisket, A-Tasket to get through those challenging parts with some level of success, and then you're going to get on to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Play it slow, guys. It's really pretty. And then finally wrap up with your 86 lessons. You're doing the first 8 of 88. Okay. Actually, probably start with that and do your warm up with it, and then go do the other stuff. That's it. That's what I know. 7:45, 7:47. Looks like I'm pretty close to having it done. Each week we'll have less talking and more playing. Okay, and I'm wearing a huge ass sweatshirt because it's super cold down here. Not as cold as Denver. I don't know if you guys have been seeing their temperature. It's like -2 right there. Very, very unpleasant up there. So good to see all of you guys. I will be taking these videos and these ideas and either pulling them down and chopping them up and putting them up into bite-sized organizations, or I will be just making more videos with exactly the same content. So you feel, look at what you need to and what you don't need to. But I'll leave links up on my on the website telling you where to go and what to do to find the pieces that you're working on. And hopefully that works out for you. Good to see all of you guys. Have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you next Sunday night. Peace.